Hello, and welcome to the King's Royal Sport Report with hot kicks and hot takes. So, here we are. It's been a while. I was on vacation, so I did miss a few games, but we watched a little bit of them at the hotel and we listened to them on the radio when we were updated on the apps, and so we knew what was going on. Where they played the Pistons is the game we're talking about now. So on vacation, and we're getting ready to go out right now, but I wanted to record this. The Sacramento Kings played the Pistons the other night, and they lost by 1 point. My mom is just telling me, can't put her on film, she's getting ready. She was just telling me that she had predicted if they didn't win these next couple of games, especially to the Pistons, that the coach should be fired. And so tonight, after that loss to the Pistons, I guess it is the 27th, and the game was last night, and they just fired Mike Brown. So, some people may have predicted it and thought that that's what should have happened. I have my own opinions. I don't know that I ever had a huge problem with Mike Brown, but I think that, honestly, Christy, I felt like there's probably some things that Christy was feeling he was working a little bit harder, doing more, or felt like he should be doing more than Mike Brown. And they're different jobs, different positions. I don't know what that's like for them. But yeah, so Mike Brown, gone. We didn't win that Pistons game, and we are out of town, so we couldn't go see the game. And we didn't even watch it on TV. But we will go back to see some of the highlights in a few days when we come back home. There's another game the day that we are traveling home. So we'll be listening on the radio. What an awful loss. It wasn't that bad. 1 point. They lost by 1 point, but that point got a man fired. Mike Brown is out of the game. Could you believe it? So that's kind of what happens in basketball, right? The coach could do all that he could the year before, get us really, really far, and then in comes the next year. We don't know what's going on with the players. We don't know what's going on inside. But the owners have no choice but to make a change, try to switch it up a little bit so that, we can get a win in, and the coach takes the blame. The coach takes all the blame. So regardless of what happened last year, they had to get rid of him this year. And honestly, I'm kind of tired of it. We have been through so many coaches. There are teams in California, actually, teams that had the same coach for years and years and years and years. And they do really well. And I guess that's just the name of the game. It's a hard thing to take as a fan, not just as a player, in the industry, and it can seem a little bit ridiculous. And so from my point of view, I'll tell you what I'm thinking is that not only have we had an issue with coaches, but I think the problem is that the problem is a little bit higher, in a higher position than the coach. So I have no problems with Christy taking over. I like Christy, but here's the problem with that, is that he may be seeing it as a promotion. Everybody thinks it's great. Yes, get Christy in there. He deserves it. He belongs there. He's probably the guy whispering in Mike Brown's ear a lot of great things. But what I see is that he's just in the danger zone. This is not just a promotion. This is not all, happy times, party time. It's danger zone. This means that he's in a position now if he does something wrong, they'll get rid of him too, because they'll see him as part of the problem this year. And that's when I think back, I've been with this team a lot longer than the current owners. I've been watching this game since I was a child in this city, and I watched owners come and go, not just players and coaches. But so the last ones that we had were the Maloofs, and the fans, the people, the players, literally drove them out of the city. And I don't honestly know why. I can't remember if there was some drama where it was really terrible. Somebody said something awful. I can't remember that, but I do remember that it was around the time when there was that coach that was accused of treating his players like slaves or saying some racist comments. I think the Maloofs left shortly or just a little bit before that incident. But so it was kind of in the time when people were questioning the intentions and the mindsets of the owners of the basketball teams. And so the Maloofs left, and they were great, biggest organizers, but unfortunately it didn't work out for them in this city, and they sold it to the new owners. Now, everybody was pretty happy, called them heroes, and I never really thought so. I always thought that there was some sort of hidden reason, like some sort of, and it's always the case, whatever you do, if you buy something, you want something for yourself, something for your family, it's always the case that you put yourself first and your needs and your wants. And so I do think that part of what they were initially doing it for was not just to be heroes in Sacramento, but to be famous. They have billions of dollars. There was only one next step to make. It was fame. It was, they already had the fortune. But so then the first step after buying the team was to get their daughter to try to date Steph Curry, the new up-and-coming star. And that didn't work out. And it's no wonder, because Steph Curry is the best of the best, or at least was at the time, and I would consider him so. Just the other night, making one of the greatest shots I've ever seen. But as usual, as can be expected by that man. But I think that it was very clear, like, what they were trying to do here, to me anyway, as a performing artist. You kind of see through those things and can really pinpoint when that's somebody's, goal. And so it's more obvious in the changes the daughter of the owners have made for herself. But I think that she's claimed to be a basketball player. I think she played high school or college or something. And this person had some amount of control over the training and the new different types of training that the team was getting, and other things within the basketball team had other positions, to be sort of at the head or at the core of, how these things are developed. And she kept saying, I watched an interview with her where she kept saying, we are doing this and I am doing that, and we are doing this, and I'm really trying to say that she's very hands-on and involved in a lot of things. Well, so, if they're so hands-on and involved in a different way than most owners are, kind of sit back and let the pros handle it on their own, and do the best they can. If they're so involved, maybe that's the problem. Maybe they don't know what they're doing. And maybe they want to blame it on the coaches. But they've flown through at least 3 or 4 coaches since they've been the owners of this team. Never, only once getting to the first week of the playoffs, and that is it. And that's the coach they just fired. So if we are the reason, if the fans are the reason why the moves left and the reason why that they supposedly were driven out of town, why don't we do it again? Because I don't see that they're coming up with any better solutions. And I think that having Christie as a lead coach is great. Stepping up for a little while is great, but I honestly think that he's in danger there. That what happens when we lose Christie? Then what? We lost Blotty, and there's a lot of people that agreed with that decision. But I mean, we're flying through people who know the game, who know this team, who know this city, who have been to the playoffs themselves. And so what are we doing here? Who's really in charge, and what they're so involved in something, but it seems like they're spending more time on their Instagram accounts trying to, look like a different person. And I'm trying to figure out like whose shoes are you trying to fill? Because most owners let the players and the coaches play the game without trying to put their 2 cents in their foot in the door where it doesn't belong. I don't even know that that's a real saying. It's late at night. But so yeah, that's my opinion there. I think that they need to reevaluate their time here on this team and maybe try to sell the team to buyers who maybe care a little bit more about the game, and to buyers who have more interest in letting the game be played by the professionals and not, interested in taking positions that they aren't experienced enough to be in. You know what I mean? Like, maybe she should think about just working with junior high kids instead. But yeah, that's my opinion for the game with the Detroit Pistons. And I said it, here we go. My mom made a prediction that was gonna happen. And I didn't catch it on camera, but I heard her say it. And when it happened, we both kind of looked at each other like, oh my God, like how many Sacramento fans knew that this was gonna happen? The OGs, only people that have been with this team for a long time knew that they were gonna do this. But yeah, so it was called, it was done, and we lost our coach. We will see what happens. But the very next game after that is with the Lakers. The Lakers was, I guess it was on the 28th, December 28th. These were the Christmas games. So we have to deal with the Lakers one more time, and it's without the coach. So yeah, we were in the car and we were listening to that game. So I'm in the car. We've been on the road. It's the 28th. Kings versus the Lakers again. And here's my take so far with low lighting. Here's my take. We need new owners. But we do get rid of coaches in dance coaches if we're not winning competitions. I think first we will spend a year really trying to evaluate if it's our own dancers before we quit our coach, because it's a long time training and we have to know that sometimes it is just that, everybody's better than you sometimes, and then sometimes it's just that you haven't quite gotten the knack of being at your best when you need to be. And sometimes it's just the coaches, the judges have a bad night. So just like in basketball, sometimes you go out there and you're not at your best, and it's hard to reach that high level of playing when your body feels broken and you're mentally exhausted, and you have some losses and some embarrassing losses in the past week or two. It's rough, but those are some of the things that we have to learn to get over. And sometimes it's not just the coach. It's never just the coach, right? But they got to figure out something, how to please fans in some way and do something where they can show that they're making a change. I just think the changes that they're making are the wrong ones, and that maybe they should just think about the fact that they've had a good run here. They've been here too long, and they no longer know. I don't think they ever knew how to run this team, but Sacramento fans got to thank them for keeping the game here, and maybe somebody else will buy in and have better ideas of how a basketball team is supposed to be ran, so to create a winning team. My opinion, everybody's got one. Tell me yours. Now, let's talk about the next game. The Lakers versus the Kings. Third game. It is ridiculous. So here we are, Kings Royal Sports Report, here with hot takes and hot takes. I am Xochitl Alpizzi, your host. Now, the Kings and the Lakers play again. After learning that you're losing your coach the day before and trying to figure out how to win a game, it's just, I don't even know that it's a possibility. If this had happened to Steph and the Warriors, I don't know that things would have gone any different. But that's a different, just honestly, I know I'm here as a Sacramento Kings fan. I love Steph Curry. I think he's amazing. Yeah, everybody knows how amazing he is. You cannot deny. Okay. So yes, I also like the Golden State Warriors. And I will say this 1,000 times in the past, in the present, and in the future. All I want is for California, any one of the 4 California teams, to make it into the playoffs every year. It's got to happen. We're the only state with 4 teams. I mean, come on. It's got to happen. It is terribly disappointing when we don't. It would be like, what are we doing? That's all we know in California is basketball. We got some great football teams, but we care less about it, to be honest. And, football, the only reason why people like the Raiders is because there were some Mexican football heroes in that game. But that was a very long time ago. And I think that people are paying more attention to basketball than anything else here in California for at least the last 20 years. So in Sacramento, and there's rivalries. rivalries, which I think are ridiculous sometimes, because the reason why we want to get into playoffs, people, is so that we can go and watch the games without having to pay thousands of dollars for travel. That's the whole point of having 4 teams in the same state. And I don't know why other states aren't doing it. But we don't need any more basketball teams. That would be a really ridiculously long season. But yeah, that is the reason for me. Anyway, that's my personal reason why I'm for all California teams. But I do have favorites, and my favorites are in Northern California. However, when Kobe Bryant was alive and playing in the Lakers, I loved the Lakers. I think Shaq is hilarious. But that's the thing that I'll say. Shaq came to Sacramento. Steph Curry's brother was on this team. Well, being traded is one thing, but honestly, I think he wanted to leave. Shaq left. He was here for a little while. He's like, see you later, beaches. You know, so I don't think that was because of the rivalry between Sacramento and the Lakers. I mean, if that was a bigger deal to him, then he wouldn't have come here in the first place. I think that's when Cousins was on the team. I don't remember 100% completely, but I think that's when. And when Cousins was on the team, it was a one-man team. We didn't have a really great team around him. He was just the one guy, and it was really difficult for him to win it all by himself, even with 50, 60 points. So Shaq was done. He left. And after all that, Shaq left, Lottie left, or got fired, whatever. One coach after the other. I mean, somebody buy this. That doesn't sound like a really good sell. Somebody buy this team. Bring your great ideas over here to help save us. But I think that maybe people don't really know that the things that they don't like about this team are the fault of the people in higher positions, people we don't see on camera all of the time. I think that that's something people don't think about at all. And everybody talks about, oh, we love them. I don't. And I'm not afraid to say that. I live here in Sacramento. They'll probably call every store to try to get people pissed off at me. But I mean, at this point, whose side are you going to take, really? Whose side are you going to take, really? We got to learn to admit our faults and, be mature about it. It's time to go. It's time for them to go. But so the Lakers versus the Kings, always what happens in basketball, you'll get in a slump and you'll come back up from it. But I think the most disappointing thing about the night against the Pistons is that the Pistons is at the bottom right now. They're the worst, one of the worst teams, if not the worst team in the league right now. And we lost to them. So it's like, ugh. But you gotta remember, we were in that position not that long ago. We haven't moved that far ahead from that. It just feels like it. So we gotta understand, it's like in dancing, you win a competition after you're competing for a year, you can't get on the podium, and then one time you get 3rd place and you're so excited. But the next time, you can't even get in 6th place. And the next time, you're the only one who competes, and they give you a certificate of achievement instead, right? So everything is heartbreaking after that because you thought you would just continuously get better. But it's not even really a question of how much you're training or how much you're practicing. It's got a lot to do with the kind of training and everything else that goes on with you when you're alive. And in basketball, they're not just one person. In dancing, it's just you and your partner. If you're pro-am, like I'm pro-am in ballroom, it's you and your instructor, and your instructor is a professional, right? They're supposed to know the best. They're supposed to know the most. They've already been proven to be great. Now it's your turn. And they're putting their reputation on the line by taking you out there. And so it's some amount of pressure. But with basketball, you're going out there with a ton of other people to help you. And though the point guard may feel like he's out there all by himself, he's not. So that's the thing about it, is that there are a lot of different things that come into play because it's too many lives that are going on, right? And it's not just the players, but it's the coaches and everybody else in the back. So as fans, we try to encourage them. We try to do the best we can to make them feel like we're there, right? Something else is going on, and we don't know what it is. So, yeah. Lakers versus Kings, done game. However, that night, the Warriors had a game, right? This was like one of Steph's greatest shots ever. Wow. Anyway, in the past couple of years. And they can't decide if he made shot clock or not. And so it's like a big drama. Like I was watching the Kings updates, and then I'm scrolling Instagram, as the first thing I see is Steph's last shot. Then we realized the Warriors are coming. So I didn't watch this game. The past two games, the Pistons and the Lakers, we didn't watch it. We were listening to it on the radio on the way home from LA. And it's just like we were in LA, but the Sacramento Kings were playing the Lakers, and we were leaving, trying to come home, but and we always want to be there to support in the audience, but we got lives too, man. It was a great Christmas experience for us. We went to see family, take our little provisions, as my mom calls them. Went from house to house, just dropping off gifts to family members and friends, and saying hi for a little while. It was great. And I got to meet some people in my brother's life, and that was a very interesting night. So yeah, the holidays were all fine and dandy for us. The Kings were Royal Sports Report with hot cakes.